Welcome, Chosen One, to the Wisdom Tribe. If you are hearing this right now, understand this. God Himself has led you here. This message did not find you by coincidence. It found you by divine appointment. You are not ordinary. You are not forgotten. You have been handpicked, set apart, and anointed for a throne that only you can occupy. But here's the truth many people don't understand. Before God places His chosen into a position of kingship, rulership, or influence, He takes them through a process of suffering. Why? Because suffering is not punishment, it is training. It is preparation. It is the fire that molds you, the wilderness that shapes you, and the discipline that qualifies you. Today, we are going to break this down into 7 revelations so you will see clearly why your tears, your struggles, and your storms were not in vain. They were your training ground for the throne. Before we dive deeper, pause for a moment. If your spirit is connecting with this word, I want you to type the number 7 in the comments right now. That number is not random, it is the number of divine completion. It represents that the suffering, the training, and the hidden battles you've endured are reaching their fulfillment. God is preparing to crown you, to sit you in the very place your trials were shaping you for. When you type it, you are declaring in faith, "My training was not in vain. My pain was preparation. I am ready for the throne God has been preparing for me." Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom Tribe, because Chosen One, this message is not just information, it's a confirmation. And make sure you stay with me until the very end of this word, because what God is about to reveal about your elevation will shift the way you see your past forever. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Pattern of the Chosen. Chosen One, the first thing you need to understand is this: God always works in patterns. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And when you study the lives of those He handpicked throughout history, you will notice the same rhythm, the same process, the same divine order that repeats itself. Every chosen vessel, every king, every prophet, every deliverer, every reformer walked through suffering before they stepped into their crown. Suffering is not the evidence that you are forgotten. It is the fingerprint that proves you have been marked for greatness. Look at Joseph. God gave him dreams of rulership, yet almost immediately his life descended into chaos. His own brothers, the people who should have celebrated him, betrayed him out of envy. He was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and wrongfully accused until he ended up in prison. To the human eye, it looked like Joseph's destiny was destroyed. But in God's eyes, Joseph was in training. The pit humbled him. The palace of Potiphar refined his integrity. The prison taught him patience and stewardship. By the time Pharaoh elevated him to second in command over Egypt, Joseph wasn't just a dreamer anymore. He was a ruler with wisdom, humility, and strength forged in fire. Now look at David. Anointed by the prophet Samuel as a young boy, the oil of kingship flowed over his head long before he ever sat on a throne. But what happened next? Did he walk straight into the palace? Instead, David's life spiraled into years of hardship. He faced rejection from his own father, who didn't even call him into the room when Samuel came looking for the chosen. He faced jealousy and hatred from Saul, who hunted him like an animal. He lived in caves, fought giants, and survived betrayal from those he trusted. Every battle, Every rejection, every lonely night in the wilderness was shaping David into a man who could handle the weight of leadership. By the time he finally sat on the throne of Israel, he was not just a king by anointing. He was a king by endurance, faith, and divine training. Consider Esther. Before she wore the crown, she was an orphan, stripped of the comfort of family, left with no inheritance, no name, no security. To the world, she was a nobody. But in God's eyes, she was a queen in preparation. Her pain birthed resilience, her loss cultivated humility, and her hiddenness positioned her for greatness. When the time came, she was placed in the palace not just for beauty's sake, but for destiny's sake, to save her entire nation. And we cannot forget Jesus, the ultimate chosen one. He was despised, rejected, and betrayed by those he loved most. He was mocked, beaten, and crucified before the world ever bowed to him as Lord. Even the Son of God himself was not exempt from the pattern. Before resurrection came the cross. Before exaltation came suffering. His crown of thorns preceded his crown of glory. This is the divine order, chosen one. Suffering before glory, pain before promise, rejection before recognition. The throne is never handed cheaply. God never promotes someone who hasn't been prepared, and that includes you. You have been wondering why your life has carried so much heaviness. You've questioned why you were betrayed by the people you trusted, why doors kept closing, why you faced so many battles that felt unfair. But the truth is, your journey is not random. It follows the same holy pattern of those who came before you. You are walking the path of the chosen. Your suffering is not punishment, it is preparation. It is evidence that your crown is real and that your throne is set aside for you. The greater the calling, the greater the crushing. The higher the elevation, the deeper the preparation. God has been refining you, stripping away what cannot go with you, shaping your heart so you can carry the weight of the assignment without breaking. So, chosen one, lift your head. Stop seeing your pain as wasted. Stop assuming your suffering means you are forgotten. You are not forgotten, you are marked. You are not cursed, you are chosen. And like Joseph, like David, like Esther, like Jesus, your suffering is only a sign that your throne is on the way. Your life is proof that the pattern of the chosen continues even today. Chapter 2. Suffering built your spiritual muscle. Chosen one, let me tell you a secret that few people understand. Your suffering has been spiritual weightlifting. It has not been random, it has not been wasted, and it has not been meaningless. Every trial you endured was resistance training for your soul. Every betrayal was extra weight added to your spiritual barbell. Every season of delay was a push-up for your patience. Every heartbreak was a stretching of your inner endurance. And every loss, though painful, was a holy exercise building you into the warrior you are today. You see, just as the body does not grow stronger without resistance, the spirit does not grow stronger without suffering. If you never had to push against opposition, you would never know how much force you truly carry. If you never faced betrayal, you would never learn how to love without expectation. If you never endured loss, you would never discover that God alone is your true source. Each painful moment was shaping your spiritual muscles, carving your soul into someone who can stand the weight of destiny. Think about it. If Joseph had not endured betrayal, he would not have had the emotional strength to forgive his brothers and save an entire nation. If David had not been chased through caves, he would not have had the resilience to lead warriors and command kingdoms. If Esther had not lived as an orphan, she would not have had the humility and compassion to risk her life for her people. Even Jesus, though perfect, learned obedience through the things he suffered. Hebrews 5:8. If the Son of God himself had to build spiritual muscle through suffering, how much more must we? Chosen one, your throne is not just a place of glory, it is a place of responsibility. It is not just about authority, it is about stewardship, discernment, and maturity. God does not raise weaklings to sit on thrones. He raises warriors. And warriors are not trained in comfort, they are trained in battle. You needed strength that could not be taught in classrooms, sermons, or quiet rooms of ease. That strength only comes from walking through fire and surviving. Your tears were not wasted. They watered the roots of your resilience. Your sleepless nights were not in vain. They forged the steel of your determination. The seasons where you had to wait when others were racing ahead built the kind of patience that makes you unshakable. The losses you endured carved out space inside you for divine wisdom and compassion that only those who've been through the valley can carry. Understand this. Suffering was your gym. Every setback was a representative. Every disappointment was a press. Every heartbreak was a lift. You were building invisible muscles, chosen one. And though the world couldn't see it, heaven was recording it. That is why, even when you felt weak, somehow you kept standing. Even when you thought you would break, something inside you refused to give up. That was your spiritual muscle growing, your inner man becoming stronger, your faith becoming unshakable. And now, when God places you on your throne, you will not collapse under the weight of it. You will not be crushed by responsibility. You will not be destroyed by influence. Why? Because you already carried weight heavier than this. You carried the pain of rejection, the pressure of delay, the heat of betrayal, and you survived. That is why your throne will not destroy you. Instead, you will sit on it with wisdom, strength, and discernment because your spiritual muscles were forged in the fire. Chosen one, never again look at your suffering as wasted time. It was training. Never again see yourself as weak. You are stronger than you realize. Every storm, every valley, every heartbreak made you unbreakable. You are no longer the fragile soul you once were. You are a warrior, battle-tested and proven, and now heaven says you are ready. Chapter 3. Suffering purified your heart. The throne God has for you is not an ordinary seat. It is holy, it is sacred, and it carries weight that most people could never bear. To sit on it requires more than talent, more than intelligence, and more than ambition. It requires purity. This is why you had to suffer, chosen one. Your suffering was never random. It was God's way of purifying your heart so that when He elevated you, you would not be destroyed by the very blessing meant to lift you. Every painful experience you went through was a refining fire. The betrayal stripped away your illusions and taught you to value loyalty on a deeper level. The heartbreak softened you, teaching you compassion in a way that only those who have been broken can understand. The seasons of loneliness heightened your sensitivity to the pain of others, allowing you to see what many overlook. The times of lack gave you generosity because you know firsthand how it feels to go without. Through it all, God was removing pride, selfishness, and bitterness so that you would not just rise with power. You would rise with love, humility, and wisdom. This is how God works with his chosen. He does not rush them into glory. He refines them in obscurity. Gold cannot shine without fire. Diamonds cannot form without pressure. Oil cannot flow without crushing. You could not escape the process because the throne you are being prepared for requires a purified vessel. Without purification, power would have corrupted you. Without purification, influence would have led you into pride. Without purification, your crown would have weighed you down instead of lifting you up. Your suffering transformed you in ways you may not have even realized. Your pain gave birth to empathy, allowing you to step into another person's shoes and truly understand their struggles. Your losses gave birth to wisdom, sharpening your discernment so that you can see beyond words and appearances. Your scars turned into oil, producing healing and encouragement for others who are walking through what you survived. What once wounded you now empowers you to serve and to guide. Chosen one, your throne is not just about authority, it is about service. God needed to know that when He placed influence in your hands, you would not use it to exalt yourself, but to glorify Him. He had to test your heart in fire so that He could trust you with what He is about to release. And now, after all the refining, your heart has been purified. This is why your suffering could not be skipped. Without it, the blessing would have destroyed you. Without it, success would have made you arrogant. Without it, power would have disconnected you from God. But now, because of what you endured, you are safe to elevate. You can be trusted with wealth, with authority, and with honor because you carry them not as weapons of pride, but as instruments of love. Your suffering was not wasted. Every tear was washing something out of you. Every season of pain was carving something holy into you. Every loss was setting you apart for greater gain. And now that the purification is complete, you are ready. Ready to rise, ready to serve, ready to sit on the throne God reserved for you from the very beginning. Chapter 4. The throne demands wisdom, and suffering taught you. Every great ruler requires wisdom, not just head knowledge, not just education, but deep, divine insight. Wisdom is the ability to see beyond the surface, to discern truth in the midst of deception, to act with clarity when others are confused. And chosen one, wisdom is not something you can simply read in a book or inherit from another. It is something forged in the furnace of experience. It is birthed through trials, mistakes, endurance, and suffering. That is why you had to go through so much. Because the throne God has for you demands wisdom, and wisdom only comes through the road you've walked. Your struggles were your real classroom. Life itself became your teacher. Every trial carried a hidden lesson. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment. Every disappointment stretched your understanding. Every delay shaped your patience. You may not have realized it while you were in the middle of it, but every painful season was depositing wisdom inside you that no textbook or lecture could provide. You learned what fake love looks like, and because of that, you now know how to recognize true loyalty. You learned the sting of lies, and now you can treasure the beauty of honesty. You experienced what it feels like to be overlooked and underestimated, and now you understand the importance of seeing the value in others who are often ignored. You endured poverty and lack, and now you carry compassion for the poor, because you know what it feels like to struggle. You endured waiting seasons that seemed endless, And now you carry patience that allows you to sit still and hear God before making decisions. This wisdom is what sets you apart. Many desire the throne, but they want it without the process. They want power without depth, influence without discipline, leadership without wisdom. But God would not let you rise too early because He knew that without wisdom you would not be able to sustain your position. Without wisdom, your throne would crumble beneath you. Without wisdom, your influence could destroy instead of build. That is why your path was long, why your lessons were painful, and why your training was intense. Chosen one, your wisdom now runs deeper than your years. People may look at your age, your background, or your appearance and wonder how you carry such understanding, but it is because you have been trained by suffering itself. The things you know could never have been taught in a classroom. They were carved into you through experience. That is why when you speak, your words carry weight. That is why when you make decisions, you move with caution and discernment. That is why when you lead, you don't just rule with authority, you rule with understanding. The throne you are stepping into requires this kind of wisdom. It demands a leader who has seen both sides of life, who has known pain as well as joy, who has felt weakness as well as strength. Your wisdom is your safeguard. It will keep you humble, compassionate, and discerning when power could easily make others arrogant, careless, or blind. So do not despise the years of suffering. They were your divine schooling. God was training you for rulership by teaching you lessons no ordinary path could ever provide. You have graduated from the classroom of pain, and the diploma you now carry is wisdom. And with this wisdom you are ready to reign, not recklessly but righteously. Chapter 5. Your silent suffering trained you for leadership. Chosen one, remember this. True leaders are not built in comfort, they are forged in fire. The throne is not handed to the entitled or the careless. It is reserved for those who endured silently, who fought invisible battles, who carried heavy burdens with no applause, and who cried tears in the dark that no one ever witnessed. Your path was not meant to be easy because easy paths don't create strong leaders. Your path was meant to be refining, shaping, and molding because the weight of your calling required a different kind of preparation. You were trained in the shadows, far away from recognition, so that when the time came for your light to shine, it would not be a borrowed flame, but one that had been ignited within you. You didn't rise through privilege, status, or connections. You rose through endurance, faith, and divine preparation. God allowed you to walk alone, not to punish you, but to strengthen you. Loneliness was not abandonment, it was training. Isolation was not rejection, it was refinement. In the silence, you learned to hear God's voice more clearly. In the stillness, you discovered who you were without the noise of others. The throne you are stepping into could not be entrusted to someone who had never suffered. Why? Because without suffering, leadership turns into dictatorship. Without pain, authority turns into arrogance. Without trials, power turns into selfishness. But because you know what it means to be broken, you will lead with empathy. Because you know what it means to be overlooked, you will lead with fairness. Because you know what it means to suffer in silence, you will create spaces of healing for others. Your silent suffering became your secret schooling. Every tear that fell when no one was watching became a seed of compassion. Every prayer you whispered in exhaustion became a foundation of strength. Every time you chose faith when fear was louder, you were being shaped into a leader whose authority would not be shallow, but rooted in God. You may have thought those seasons were wasted, but they were the most important chapters of your preparation. They gave you integrity, depth, and spiritual stamina. God tested you in obscurity so that when you sit on the throne, arrogance won't define you. Instead, service will. You won't lead to be worshipped. You'll lead to uplift. You won't rule to be feared. You'll rule to protect. You won't sit in power to glorify yourself. You'll sit there to glorify God. That is why your leadership is legitimate. It wasn't handed down by man. It wasn't bought by influence. It wasn't inherited by privilege. It was born in the wilderness. And what is born in the wilderness cannot be corrupted by the palace. Chosen one, your leadership carries a weight that others can't fake because it is stamped with authenticity. People will follow you not because of your title, but because of your testimony. They will trust you not because of your throne, but because of your scars. And when they look at you, they will see someone who has been where they are, someone who knows pain, someone who understands the struggle. That is what makes you different. That is what makes you trustworthy. That is what makes you ready. Your silent suffering has spoken louder than any public success ever could. And now, that very silence has trained you to carry the crown with humility, strength, and grace. Chapter 6. The greater the suffering, the greater the throne. This is why your battles have always been harder than others. This is why your warfare has been more intense than those around you. This is why, from childhood, you've been targeted by storms, setbacks, betrayals, and sudden losses. It wasn't because you were cursed. It was because you were chosen. The throne prepared for you is great, and great thrones demand great preparation. Hell doesn't waste its resources on the ordinary. Demons don't attack people who carry no destiny. The enemy saw your light before you even saw it yourself. He recognized the oil on your life before you understood it. That is why you were marked early. That is why your family experienced unusual turbulence. That is why friendships crumbled, opportunities were delayed, and doors were slammed in your face. The enemy tried to weaken your spirit before you discovered your crown. He tried to break your identity before you realized your authority, but here's the mystery. Your suffering was never wasted. Every fiery trial was proportionate to your calling. The heavier the cross, the greater the crown. The deeper the suffering, the higher the throne. The more you endured, the more capacity you gained to carry what is coming. What others could not handle, you carried. What others collapsed under, you survived. And that survival was not random. It was proof that you were chosen for something beyond imagination. The enemy thought he was destroying you, but in truth, he was training you. Every attack that was supposed to destroy your faith only strengthened it. Every betrayal that was supposed to harden your heart only purified it. Every delay that was supposed to discourage you only increased your patience. Without knowing it, hell became your classroom, and every attack became a lesson that sharpened you for leadership. Think about it. If your life had been easy, you would not have depth. If you had never been betrayed, you would not discern loyalty. If you had never been poor, you would not value wealth. If you had never been silenced, you would not treasure your voice. What the enemy meant for evil, God turned into wisdom. What was designed to crush you became the very tool that built you. Your throne is great because your training was great. And no throne of significance can be reached without significant suffering. That is why you should never envy those who rose without struggle, because their foundation is shallow. But yours is unshakable because it was built in pain, tears, warfare, and faith. Chosen one, understand this clearly. Your suffering has been the greatest confirmation of your calling. The fact that you survived what others could not is proof that heaven preserved you. The enemy's fury was never about your past. It was about your future. He saw the crown before you could wear it. He saw the throne before you could sit on it. But what he didn't know was that every blow he sent would only push you closer to destiny. The enemy tried to bury you, but he only planted you. He tried to silence you, but he only amplified your voice. He tried to break you, but all he did was build you. All he did was make you stronger, wiser, sharper, and more prepared for the throne that is waiting for you. The greater your suffering, the greater your throne. And now, chosen one, the time is near. You are not only surviving the battle, you are stepping into the reign it was preparing you for. Chapter 7. Walking into your throne with confidence. Finally, chosen one, it's time to embrace this eternal truth. Your suffering was never the end of the story. It was the preparation for your coronation. Every sleepless night, every silent tear, every betrayal, every delay, it was all shaping you for the very moment you are about to step into. God never wasted a single ounce of your pain. He used the fire to purify you. He used the trials to strengthen you. He used the storms to position you exactly where you need to be. Now, the season of hiding is ending. The wilderness has done its work. You are no longer the same person who entered the fire. You are refined, sharpened, matured, and crowned with wisdom that only experience can bring. You carry humility because you know what it means to be humbled. You carry compassion because you know what it means to suffer. You carry authority because you know what it means to overcome. And you carry faith because you know what it means to walk through darkness without losing your light. You are not just a survivor, you are a ruler in the making, and this is the difference. Survivors simply live through pain, but rulers transform pain into power. Survivors carry scars, but rulers carry crowns forged from those very scars. Survivors endure, but rulers lead others out of the same wilderness they once wandered. So step forward boldly, chosen one. Walk into your throne with confidence. Do not downplay your journey as if it were something small. Do not hide your scars as if they were something shameful. Your scars are the proof of your training. They are the visible evidence that you paid the price for the oil you now carry. Every mark on your soul is a testimony that you endured what others could not. Every wound that healed became a doorway to wisdom and authority. The world may not understand your path, but they will see the fruit. They may not know the depth of your warfare, but they will witness the height of your victory. Your life is now the sermon, your walk is now the message. And when you sit on the throne God has prepared for you, your very existence will testify that suffering does not disqualify, it qualifies. Your throne is waiting, your crown is ready, and heaven has already stamped its seal of approval on your head. The oil of kingship and queenship has been poured over your spirit. You are not who you used to be. The wilderness stripped away your weakness. The fire burned away your pride. The storms removed your dependence on man. What remains is the true you, the chosen, refined, and enthroned one of the Most High God. So lift your head high, square your shoulders, take your place without apology. Do not shrink back, do not second guess, do not walk timidly into what heaven has already ordained. This is your moment, this is your throne, this is your crown, and this is your time. Chosen one, you are not stepping into leadership by accident. You were prepared for this before the foundations of the world. Heaven knew your name, marked your destiny, and preserved your life through every battle. Now you rise, not as the broken, but as the rebuilt, not as the forgotten, but as the chosen, not as a survivor, but as a ruler. You are enthroned by God Himself,